Hello students, we're going to start with a new topic, structure of chromosome, and in this topic we'll be learning about the basic structure of chromosome and the DNA. Chromosome, as we all know, is a structure of nucleic acid found in the nucleus of the living cells, and they are responsible for heredity and carries genetic information. We all look similar to our parents because of the chromosomes, and these chromosomes were first discovered by Walter Fleming in the year 1882. Walter Fleming has observed thread-like structures in rapidly dividing cells of the larvae of the salamander, and he called the division of cell happening in the larvae as mitosis. Before we start to study the entire structure of chromosome, I want you to understand the basic difference between chromosome, chromatin and chromatid. So let's start with chromatin. Chromatin is a DNA wrapped around the histones, right? And these histones are actually associated with the DNA in the nucleus and help condense it into chromatin. These histones, they are the alkaline proteins. So when these histones, they come along with the DNA, they are going to organize to form chromatin fibers. Now let us understand step by step how are they going to be associated. Histones are formed in the liver and released in the blood. When these DNAs and the histones, they come together, they're going to form a structure which is called as nucleosome. And when these nucleosomes comes together, they're going to form chromatin fiber. Right? So DNA plus histones is going to form the nucleosome, and chain of nucleosome is to be called or will be called as chromatin fibers. Right? Now let's understand about nucleosome in more detail. Nucleosomes, they are the basic unit of DNA packaging in the eukaryote. Let me remind you, nucleosomes are not present in the prokaryotic cells. They are only present in the eukaryotic cells. These nucleosomes consist of approximately 147 base pairs of DNA wrapped around a histone octamer consisting of two copies of core histone protein H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. So there is going to be copy of H2A. So two histone proteins of H2A, 2 of H2B, 2 of H3 and 2 of H4 would be there, leading to formation of an octamer, presence of 8 core histone proteins along with the DNA. Now along with the octamer and DNA, there is one more structure which is called as H1 histone, which is a linker histone which is going to keep all the 8 histone proteins together. Right? It is going to link up the octamer together along with the DNA. Alright, now tell me, what is the need of nucleosome? What is the need of this entire complex? Suppose if you have a tiny box, of approximately 1 millimeter side, and you have a big thread of 6 feet. How are you going to keep this entire 6 feet thread inside this box? We are going to coil it properly and keep it inside the box nicely. Okay, so DNA inside our cell is also organized in a very coiled and condensed manner so that the entire length of DNA can be packaged inside the tiny cells. So basically, chromatin is a way to organize DNA to place it in the nucleus. Just imagine if a cell is so small, how tiny would be the nucleus. Just to keep the entire length of DNA inside that tiny nucleus, we need to organize the complete length of DNA and to coil it properly to be adjusted inside the tiny nucleus. So there has to be presence of chromatin to organize or to place the entire length of DNA together. And this chromatin, children, is present as the semi-condensed form. Right? Now, when these semi-condensed form, they get condensed, they are going to form structure which is called as chromosomes, and these chromosomes can be seen during the cell division. Right? So here you can see in this diagram, there is a DNA. This DNA comes along with the histone protein to form nucleosome, and when many nucleosome comes together, it is going to form the chromatin fiber which is semi-condensed, and when this chromatin fiber gets more condensed during cell division, it is going to form a chromosome. So I hope you are clear with the term chromatin fiber and chromosome. Now let us study about chromatid. Let's take a quick recap. DNA along with the histone forms nucleosome, chain of nucleosome forms chromatin, and when this chromatin gets condensed, more condensed, now it will be called as a chromosome. Right, so this is a structure of a duplicated chromosome. Now let me remind you, this structure, if I draw it like this, it will also be called as a chromosome. When this chromosome creates a copy, now it will be called as a duplicated chromosome. Right, duplicated chromosome means if over here it has presence of a gene which is called as X, on this arm also there will be presence of the same gene called as X, which will be responsible for the same trait like your hair color or the eye color, then such a chromosome would be called as a duplicated chromosome. Now what is chromatid? Chromatid is one half of the duplicated chromosome. So this duplicated chromosome consists of two chromatids or two sister chromatids. Right? To understand it in a better way, let us observe this diagram or picture. Here you have there are four pictures. Picture number 1 represents one chromosome with one chromatid. Before cell division, when the cell is ready to divide, chromosome or the DNA, it multiplies, right? So the chromosome gets duplicated in picture number 2. So here the single chromosome has created one more copy of itself. So here one chromosome consists of sister chromatids, right? And in the picture number 3, what has happened? This chromosome has converted itself into completely condensed form. Here it has one chromosome with two sister chromatids. And in the last picture, there are two chromosomes with one chromatid each, and this structure can be seen after the cell division of a cell. So this is how we can differentiate a chromosome and a chromatid. Right? So once again, what is chromatid? Chromatid is one half of the duplicated chromosome. Now let's understand the structure of chromosome in a better way. Chromosome is actually called so because it is formed by two different words, chroma and soma. Chroma means colored and soma means the bodies. So why are they named so? When the cell was stained during the cell division, this was the only structure that was visible properly. So since they readily absorb the stain, they are called as the colored bodies. And these chromosomes, they have affinity for the basic dyes. That means that they can be stained by the basic dyes. Chromosome consists of two arms, P and Q, and these P and Q arm, they are separated by a structure or a primary constriction which is called as a centromere. Right, a centromere separates P arm and Q arm. Now how are we going to understand or differentiate which one is P and which one is Q? Shorter arm is always called as a P arm and the longer arm is called as the Q arm. Let us understand the origin of P and Q of the chromosome. The symbol P was chosen to designate the short arm because P stands for petit, P-E-T-I-T, which means small in French. The letter Q was selected to signify the long arm merely because Q is the next letter in the alphabet. So this is how the short arm will be called as P and the longer one will be called as a Q. And who separates this P and Q arm? It is a centromere, right? Now in this duplicated chromosome, children, how many sister chromatids you can see? We can clearly see presence of two sister chromatids in the duplicated chromosome. Suppose if I draw a chromosome like this, how many sister chromatids can you see in this picture? We can see presence of only one single chromatid in the picture number 1 that I have just now drawn. Right, we were learning about centromere. Right, centromere divided the chromosome into two parts, P and Q. It is called as a primary constriction, and there is one more very important and chief role of centromere, that it helps in attachment and formation of the spindle fibers during the cell division. That means these centromeres, they play a crucial role during cell division. This we will study when I'll explain you about mitosis. Now let's understand the structure of DNA. DNA term was first time given by Zacharias. It was studied by Rosalind Franklin in the year 1953, and the structure, the double helical structure of DNA was given by Watson and Crick in the year 1953, and they got Nobel Prize for it in the year 1962. So what is this DNA formed of? DNA is deoxyribose nucleic acid. What is this formed of? DNA is formed by, it is actually a polymer of nucleotide. Let's understand how this nucleotide is formed. Nucleotide is formed by sugar, which is the ribose sugar. Ribose sugar is a 5-carbon sugar. Right? So there is a sugar, there is a base, and the base present in DNA are purines and pyrimidines. Purines are adenine and guanine, represented by the letters A and G, and pyrimidines are thymine and cytosine, represented by the letters C and T. And the last thing which forms the nucleotide is the phosphate. Right? So to form a nucleotide, you need a sugar, there is presence of a base, and there is presence of phosphate. For the base, any base can be taken, either adenine or guanine or thymine or cytosine. Any single base along with the ribose and phosphate is going to form a nucleotide, and when these nucleotides come together, they are going to form the DNA. Right? So nucleoside is going to is formed by base and sugar. So when a base, which can be any base, comes along with the sugar, it is going to form a nucleoside. And nucleotide is formed by when one nucleoside comes along with the phosphate, it is going to form a single nucleotide. And when many nucleotides come together, it is going to form a DNA. Right? This is the entire flowchart of what we have just now studied. Nitrogenous base can be purines, can be pyrimidines, but there is a rule that always, if we talk about purines, they are going to pair up with the pyrimidines. Purines are adenine and guanine, and pyrimidines are cytosine and thymine. Always A is going to pair up with T, and G is going to pair up with C. Right? And the bond between A and T is hydrogen bond, which is a double bond, and the bond between G and C is also hydrogen bond, which is a triple bond. Right? Now, in a DNA consists of 2 chains of nucleotides. Right now we have learned about a single strand or single chain of DNA consists of number of nucleotides. Right? And when these 2 chains of nucleotides come together, they are going to form a DNA double helix. The 4 bases of DNA are adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, where A pairs with T with a double bond hydrogen, and C pairs with G with a triple hydrogen bond. So A with T along with double hydrogen bond, and C with G with triple hydrogen bond. DNA stores the entire information required to make the protein. Right? And gene is a section of DNA that codes for protein. We'll be learning about genes later. If we see that DNA is a double helical structure, the 2 strands of DNA, they are complementary to each other. So if we see that this one single strand of DNA, it has a sequence of bases, that is ATT, ACCGGTAA. Right? So the exactly complementary strand would be A is going to pair up with T is going to pair up with A, again T with A. So you can see there is no change. Always adenine is going to form pair with thymine, and cytosine is going to pair up with guanine. It is not going to change ever. That is why we say that the 2 strands of DNA, they are complementary to each other. Now let us study what do we mean by genes. Genes are actually the specific sequences present in the DNA. Suppose if this is entire DNA strand, some specific sequences in DNA will be called as the genes. So the entire DNA will be consisting of 2 parts, coding sequences and non-coding sequences. The coding sequences are functional, that we refer as gene, and non-coding sequences are non-functional or non-coding sequence which does not code for anything. Out of the entire DNA, 98 to 99% of DNA is non-coding sequences, and only 1% of DNA is the coding sequence. Understood? So these genes are the coding sequence which code for certain amino acids or codes for certain RNA. For example, here you can see this set of alphabets. So how many words can you find out from these sets of alphabet? We can clearly frame out RAM, RAM. Then we can clearly see it is SON, sun. Then RAT, rat. So out of these sequence of letters, how were we able to form the word? Because RAM, ram, SON, sun, and RAT, rat has given us some meaning. It is some meaningful word. In the same way, out of the entire length of DNA, if some section of the nucleotide, it is going to give rise to some specific amino acid or some specific RNA, it will be called as the gene. So a sequence of bases or a sequence of nucleotides that codes for something will be called as a gene. So gene is a sequence of nucleotides in DNA or RNA that encodes the synthesis of a gene product, either RNA or a protein. Right? So this was all about DNA and the chromosome. In the next class, we'll be learning about mitosis.